You've seen in the past 48 hours, the government has said get back to work to the public servants, and the Heart of the City movement in Auckland said, get back to work in Auckland as well, because they're keen to get the retail spend again going. They want the economy to pick up. So what have they said? Get back to work. This, of course, comes only after being told to stay at home because of COVID, and stay at home because of climate change, and this hybrid model can work. And all the research I've seen, the hybrid model is actually the one that is largely seen as successful. It means that productivity stays high, just as high or even higher than what was previously there, and it frees up some workplaces. It's better for climate emissions, all sorts of things. And so the hybrid model, we've been told for the last couple of years, works really well. Bit of time in the office and maybe a day or two at home for work. And, well, we're told it works, but the government said, no, get back in there, because I suppose short of an economic plan, get people to spend again. So we'll look at that shortly with Dr. Joanne Mutter. She's a lecturer at the Business School of University of Auckland, hybrid working. So we'll have a chat to her and what the research says and what she can tell us. And John Russell will join us from the Kati Coffin Club. He's the treasurer, so he takes in the money. This is a group of people who build their own coffins in advance. What would you build? Well, I've seen some of the coffins I've built. One guy's got a pool table on top of his. He's not wide enough to, a consumer coffin that big, so it's a small pool table. I've seen surfboards. I've seen all sorts of things. It's quite hilarious. But, of course, it's no laughing matter. We all die at some stage. But these guys are taking it in their stride. I think they've lost 26 members of their club over the years, which is a natural thing because they died, you see. So they built the coffin and then they went and used it, which I suppose is quite smart too, economically smart. They've got their own design on it. They can hardly complain about the coffin because they built it. So John Russell, he takes in the money, he brings in the membership, and it's the Kati Coffin Club. I wonder how many towns have coffin clubs. Is there somewhere else that has a coffin club as well, rather than Kati? And if you do, let me know. Give us a call. It's 0800 33 2283. The ANZ, I see, has said time for a capital gains tax. Its time has come, says the CEO of ANZ. Labor tried this, they tried it again, and they got pushed back by the public. I wonder if it's the sort of thing that's now taboo in New Zealand, that you can't touch certain things. You can't touch New Zealand super, you can't mess with bringing in a capital gains tax, certain things the public will just not accept. I wonder if this is one of them. Do you want a capital gains tax? And does your town have free parking? And how does your town look with free parking? Is free parking the way to go? Or because there's new big parking fines coming in, you see, right around the country. So is it best to have free parking in your town? Or is it best to have paid parking? What works best? Whakatane says free parking works well. It is 10 past 5. You can text me, you can call 0800 33 2283. It is 10 past 5. So, government says get back to work. No longer is this hybrid model fit for purpose, and you've got to get back to work. The government, of course, is keen to get people spending again. In Auckland, there are about 30,000 people in the CBD short compared to where they were pre-COVID, so Auckland's followed the PM's call and said, get back to work in Auckland as well. But the hybrid model has kind of been sold on us. And many New Zealanders are doing some days at home and some at work, and it works pretty well. And they've been able to manage it. And it's working, and there's productivity and so forth. But what does the latest research tell us, and what's the truth in all this? Because I think the political decision from Christopher Luxon is very much involved with politics. You see, it's about getting the economy going. You don't blame him. He wants some good news and some good numbers. Dr. Joanne Mutter is the lecturer at the Business School at Auckland University. Joanne, g'day. Good evening.
Good evening.
What does the research tell us with the hybrid model? Because it's got very popular, isn't it?
It has, and the research tells us, or certainly the overseas research in terms of productivity, because that's all we have, tells us that productivity is not going down when people are working from home. The research I've done with a colleague from Massey is more looking at, well, what are the bigger picture benefits for, individuals and organisations and even society? And it seems that there is a number of them in terms of well-being, in terms of recruitment and retention, and in terms of potentially even going some way to address the gender equity and gender gap we have. Wow.
Talk us through some of this. So good for well-being, so people feel like they can be as productive at home, or if not even more, but also their well-being is increased because they have a more balanced lifestyle, or what is it?
Absolutely. So it's about having, the idea, the enduring challenge of being able to sustain a rewarding career and have work-life balance is one that we are all faced with. And yet, if you can have those few days at home, then there is the potential, particularly if you have a partner who also has the potential for hybrid working, to, achieve some sort of balance there. It's more significant for people with children and younger children, but it's also significant for people who perhaps are caring for their ageing parents or people who have other life obligations that they'd like to meet. And, the World Health Organization tells us that a lack of well-being will impact our capacity to learn well and work well. So there's a direct correlation between well-being and productivity. So
you see, I'm way more productive at home. Yeah. I'm way more productive at home. And in the office, I'm distracted. People always want to talk about silly things with me, and I want to talk about silly things with them. There's the water cooler, and then there's someone I haven't seen for a while, so I go and give them a bit of stick. And I'm just not that good at work. But when I'm home, I know that I've got to achieve certain things. I just whack it out. No one bothers me, and away we go. I think I'm highly effective at home. Now, everyone will be different, of course, but you've got to be careful with sort of one rule fits all, don't you?
Absolutely. And see, the argument that some people are giving is that you don't have that collaboration in those water cooler conversations that you're referring to if you're at home, and so that's impacting, innovation and productivity and the like from an organisational perspective. But it's not remote working, it's hybrid working. So there is still a number of days in the office, and organisations just need to be better, are getting better at making sure that when people do come into work, they don't come in to sit in their cubicle and work on their computer. They come in to do that collaboration, and have those water cooler conversations. And organisations are getting better and better at making the time in the office the time that we do the things that we can't do at home, and are understanding how to manage that. Like lots of organisations are now having, team-led office days or anchor days, whatever they want to call it, where everything that you work with in your team or you collaborate with, you will come in on the same days. So you're not there and having a Zoom call with your teammate who's at home. But, initially we weren't sure how to do it, but organisations are getting better at making sure that collaboration and culture and lack of opportunity to, innovate together is happening, even when people are only in the office 2-3 days a week.
I think that employers don't really trust us, and I think they think that we're somehow skiving at home or something but we might be able to do the work in half the time at home, and therefore is that skiving? Or is that missed opportunity for future productivity? Or is it just like, we're using our time properly because we're busy, we have busy lives, this is what the world is now, and we need to go and grab our kid. It used to be a 5-minute drive, now it's a 25-minute drive, This is life.
And that argument that people are skiving from home, which is a term that people actually use, is just not true. And people are motivated. I mean, inherently people know that they are motivated if they are given control over what they need to do, where they can do it, when they can do it. And so actually giving people that control over their work environment, that actually is incredibly motivating for people. So that's why people do find themselves more productive when they're working from home.